All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to MDE 54. The first thing I want to say and point out is that you should be my Math 154 student as well, either in my 9 a.m. or my 10:30 a.m. class. If you are not, you are really not supposed to be in this MDE 54 course. You are supposed to enroll in an appropriately paired MDE course, and I teach two Math 154s that are supposed to directly pair with this one. But every now and then, a student will slip through an enrollment, and they just end up in my MDE, but not my Math 154, or they end up in my Math 154s, but not my MDE 54. So again, please make sure that you are my Math 154 student. I still have a couple open seats in all my courses, so if you are not my Math 154 student and you want to be, then enroll in my Monday, Wednesday, 9 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. class. If that doesn't fit in your schedule, then you should enroll in a different MDE 54 course. And that is because not all Math 154 teachers teach this at the same pace or teach exactly the same material. So I might do things in here that would be irrelevant for you, or your teacher might cover things that I'm then not covering in here. So it just doesn't work very well. There would need to be communication between everyone. And there are times when there are different MDE versus MTH instructors, but I like to teach all three together. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, and assuming that you were in my Math 154 course, you're going to see a lot of familiar stuff from this morning. The syllabus is going to feel similar. A lot of the MyMathLab talk and the Canvas talk is going to feel similar, but there'll be less things in the Canvas material. There'll be less things to talk about with the MyMathLab stuff. The grading is wildly different. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into that. First of all, just like the Math 154 course, you do have to enroll by 5 p.m. tomorrow. You were emailed that course ID. It is also in the Canvas course. It's also in the syllabus that was emailed to you. That's also in the Canvas course. And it's right here in front of your face, Beckner 31530. So that is the course ID that you will use to enroll. And you have to enroll in both the Math 154 and the MDE 54 by 5 p.m. tomorrow, or I will delete you. I will withdraw you from the course. That means you were never here. Get a tuition refund. So any student who enrolls in one but not the other will be withdrawn from both. So make sure you do both. It's only going to take you about, I don't know, like 7 minutes to do both. About 5 minutes for the first one, where you actually have to create your username and all that stuff. And then just another like 60 to 120 seconds to enroll in the second once you have your account. Just like with Math 154, there's a free trial, and we'll show that whole enrollment process in case you missed this morning's class. If you did miss this morning's class, you will find a link to the video in YouTube inside of the Canvas course for Math 154. Those will also be available in the MDE 54 course for the MDE 54 videos. So make sure that you watch every single lecture. You are responsible for watching every single lecture. If you can't watch them live, there's a YouTube replay. There are no excuses. All right, before I go into anything else, since it's already on the screen, let's go ahead and mention it. So in the Math 154 course, I said that my students, in addition to watching lectures, which is about 2.5 to 3 hours a week, you should be studying an extra and working on homework and working on Excel and all that stuff an extra 6 hours a week. Well, every 3-credit class is an extra 6 hours of homework a week, an extra 6 hours of studying a week, studying homework, all that stuff. So because you're enrolled in 2 math classes covering, a breadth of material paired together, 6 and 6 makes 12, which means in addition to watching the about 5 hours worth of lectures each week for the 2 courses, you should also be studying and doing homework about 12 hours each week, roughly 6 for the 154 and 6 for the MDE 54. So we are expecting you to put a lot of time in on this. And historically speaking, the students that fail this course are the ones that just don't want to do any work. They're the ones that don't put any time. And I can tell how much time you put into this stuff. There's a little clock on all your assignments. So I will know what you're doing. Please understand that. All righty, so let's go ahead and start talking about the syllabus. So we won't be meeting in person, unfortunately. I really miss those days. I cannot wait to go back in person for all my classes. But we will be doing this Zoom thing, so it works out. If you miss class, it's not a big deal. You can watch the YouTube replay since I post that. Not all teachers do that either, so I hope that you appreciate that ability to replay. If I ever have to miss a class, I've got enough recordings available that I can generally just go ahead and post something to YouTube. That way a day isn't missed. Unless it's if I have to miss it at the last minute, I probably won't do anything for this course. It's a little more important for the 154. We can kind of get away with missing a couple days in MDE 54, but I really can't ever miss a day in 154. Email is up here, rbeckner@tcc.edu. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I'm not going to really be in my office this semester. Well, I might. I don't know right now. Right now they're saying no, but that could be a week, a month, or all semester. So I might not be checking my office phone too much, so probably don't call me and leave voicemails for now. So email rbeckner@tcc.edu. I will always get back to you within 24 hours, 24 business hours, one business day. So if you email me on a Friday afternoon, I might not get back to you until Monday. It just depends on the situation. Make sure that when you email me, you say what course you're in. If you're going to be emailing about something related to the MDE 54, make sure you say MDE 54. You don't actually have to say the date and time because it's my only MDE 54. But if it's something about the Math 154 course, then you will need to say the day and time since I'm teaching more than one of those. I also teach many other courses. I've got 21 credits this semester. I'm a bit overloaded, but that's okay. All right, so what exactly is this course? This course is going to be a math course that runs at the exact same time as Math 154. I also do check my inbox on Canvas, and about every business day. I will say sometimes I don't check that one every day. Sometimes I forget. I'm not thinking about it, so I might get back to you a little slower on the Canvas versus the rbeckner@tcc.edu, but I would get back to you soon. So back to what is this course? It's a course that runs parallel to Math 154. We used to do prerequisites. We still do some prerequisites, but TCC and other schools feel that a lot of students will do just fine will do just fine having the prereq material taught at about the same time as the material that you're ultimately supposed to be learning. So that means that there are less semesters that you're taking math classes, hopefully, and there's political reasons for that involved as well, but we're not going to get into all of that stuff. So you'll have the 154 material, and then you'll have the MDE 54 material in the same day. I kind of feel like the order should be swapped, but that's not by decision. We do the 54 after. So if you are confused in the 154 course, we might pick up something in the 54 to help you. But a lot of the times we're going to be just kind of picking up old skills in MDE 54, at least initially for the first 1 or 2 months. So it might not feel like there's anything related to the 154 course for the first 1 or 2 months, because we're going to be working on adding and subtracting decimals, adding and subtracting fractions, as well as multiplying and dividing on all of them, sign numbers, dealing with PEMDAS, things that are assumed knowledge already in the 154. By the end of the semester, things will be paralleled a little better, though. Now, you are allowed calculators the whole time in 154, so you are allowed them as well the whole time in here. But yeah, we're going to be covering a lot of prereq material: fractions, decimals, sign numbers, order of operations, simplifying expressions, solving equations, dealing with other things that we can talk about later. I don't just want to list off 50 million things. The course access kit for MyMathLab that you're required to purchase in 154 is exactly the same thing for MDE 54, and you do not have to buy it twice. You do not have to buy it twice. You do not have to buy it twice. You only have to buy it once. Thankfully, that code will give you access to both of these courses. If you don't buy the access code, you're not going to be able to access anything after the 14-day free trial for either course, and you're definitely going to be out of luck, and you're definitely going to need to withdraw yourself. Or I'll withdraw you eventually, but I'd prefer if you withdrew yourself. Just like with the 154 course, the language, when you look at the materials for this course, is a little confusing. This is an either-or situation. Do not buy both. Do not buy both. Do not buy both of these things. Buy one or the other. The first one is cheaper. The second one is about $20 more expensive and comes with the guided activities book that is completely unnecessary for you to own, because you can just print it electronically or view it electronically, as we showed you in the Math 154 course. So me personally, if I was a student, I'd probably just buy this first one and then print off the pages as we went along for the guided activities. Print off chapter 1. Once we get to chapter 2, print that. Once we get to chapter 3, print that. Because it's going to be cheaper in the long run unless you're paying 50 cents a page. to print, in which case find a cheaper place to print. There is no textbook printed. There is no printed textbook. There is no printed textbook. It's an e-text. I'll show you where that is later. You should have already seen it again. There's going to be a lot of regurgitated information here. So again, I get a little bored here and there seeing familiar stuff, but that's okay. We already talked about the topics, basically. We'll do a lot of calculator use. We will also do some extended Excel stuff in here. We will do way more stuff with Excel in the MDE 54 course than the 154 course in class. There'll be days where we dedicate just doing Excel in MDE 54 when we're not doing it at all or very minimally in 154. Just like 154, we have a rough outline of the weekly schedule. And just like with 154, it is a very rough outline. We are going to be going a little slower at first, then we'll pick up the speed, and then we won't be getting to the last week's material at all. Well, the next to last week's material, the set theory and logic, we won't be doing that in here. We'll be ending at financial literacy. And you'll notice that each week has two topics. Week 1, study skills and getting used to Excel. One of these is kind of how to be a good student, and the other is how to get better at the math side of things. And that's true for each of these weeks. Week 4, setting up proportions and financial literacy topics, so that's the math. And then stress management is the good student. Week 5, arithmetic with units, so that's the math. Time management, that's the good student aspect. Week 8, total and percent change formulas, that's the math. And then the power of making mistakes, that's the good student. We learn from our failures. We learn from our mistakes. Trust me, I know very, 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 very well all about learning from my failures and mistakes. Oh boy, do I, especially right now. Oh boy. Okay, so your homework in MyMathLab that we'll see shortly will reflect that. There is a homework assignment for the math side of things, and there's a homework assignment for the be a good student side of things, and you're responsible for doing questions and answers from both. The homework, the way the syllabus words things is a little off for the homework. Why is there a letter missing there? Sorry, it just really threw me off that there's no I here in N. Grade policy. Based on the progression of this course, the grade distribution for each assignment may change. However, if changes are made, I will notify students in a timely manner. Final grades are made available, blah, 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 blah. That really doesn't have anything to do with anything. There's not going to be any changes. In order to remain in Math 154, students must attend and participate in MDE 54. Students who fail to attend and participate in 3 or more classes may be dropped. That should actually be a 4. This will result in you being dropped from Math 154 as well. So if you don't do your work in MDE 54, you will be withdrawn, and then it will also be withdrawn from 154. Even if you're doing every single assignment in 154 and making A's the first half of the semester, if you're not doing anything in MDE 54, I will withdraw you for a lack of completion of work. You are responsible for completing the assignments in both classes. Now, it does say here, students with a B or higher 154 do not need to continue attending MDE 54. This is old. This shouldn't actually be there. This is not true. You do have to keep attending this class. You do have to keep working on the homework. If you're making straight A's and it's week 13, 14, 15, and you talk to me, maybe we can make an exception, but it's not a blanket rule that should be there. That's going to be removed from the syllabus next semester. It's not supposed to be there now. Check your email every day, respond within a business day, all that good stuff. Attendance, just like with 154, is going to be tied to your work completion. That's the other side of things. If you don't complete the work, then you're not attending, which means you get withdrawn. TCC requires attendance, and for the Zoom stuff, attendance is homework completion. And again, 4 more days, which means 4 days worth of homework, which means 4 assignments. So if you fail to complete more than 4 assignments along the semester, that means I can withdraw you. If it's the end of the semester and you're missing 4, am I going to withdraw you and you're doing well in the other course? Probably not. If it's the beginning of the semester and you're missing 5 assignments, am I going to withdraw you? Yeah, it's a little more likely. I can be lenient at the end, but not the beginning. You've got to prove yourself first. You've got to show me that you're dedicated here. If you can't watch this lecture live any day, like I said, you've got the YouTube recordings to watch later. You can rewatch them over and over and over, so that's awesome. It's also why I don't take attendance on the live lectures because of that policy. So my attendance is based on homework. And see, it says 4 here. I don't know. I don't make everything in the syllabus. It's a lot of auto-generated stuff. I don't know why it says 3 here and then 4 here, but this is the real number. This is 4. And again, these classes are paired. If you get dropped from 154, you also get dropped from 54, and vice versa, like we've already said. Late work, makeup work. So this is the part where things get a little weird, that I don't really like the way I have to run this course. There is no official work due dates, that's supposed to say due dates, for this course, just mandatory attendance. However, due to the nature of the course, MyMathLab homework will be used to count as attendance. So I'm not going to say week 1's homework is due any day. I'm not going to say week 2's homework is due any day. I'm not going to say week 3's homework is due any day. But if I find that you're missing 5, 6 assignments and it's 7 weeks in and these are old assignments, then you're going to get withdrawn. So you do need to keep up with this at a regular pace. While I'm not going to say things are due within a week, you should do them within a week of us talking about them. At a maximum 2 weeks, you should not have any homework assignments in this course that are past 2 weeks of us discussing them. Now, again, I might be doing week 5 material during week 6, but I always point that out. But that means that week 5 material needs to be done by week 8. So at that point, I'm going to say, oh, you've missed it. And if it stays missed and you're missing 4 or 5 assignments, then again, that's when you're going to hit that withdrawal point. Sorry, someone asked a question. You can buy it directly through MyMathLab, the course code, and I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. Classroom behavior, not really an issue. I'm going to be, just like the 154 course, I keep everybody on mute, just because that's the nature of the beast here. There's a lot of feedback from other people, a lot of background noises and stuff. I have a lot of things going on at my house, just like y'all, people and animals and stuff, and instruction here and there. So I use a lot of pre-recorded videos. Some I record this semester, some I had recorded 1 or 2 semesters ago. And I always say when I'm about to start one, so you can tell. So you can always ask your questions in the chat, like someone already has done, in case you haven't seen it yet. There, I just said something in chat. On your Zoom window at the top of your screen, if you're on a computer, it usually lights up with a little number where it says chat, and that's something going on. If I ever miss something that you say, if it's been a few minutes, just say it again. Every now and then the chat window doesn't pop up, or I might be in the zone talking and just have missed it. But no obscenities in the chat room, please. Be nice to each other if you're talking to each other, all that good stuff. I will occasionally ask you to say answers to questions in the chat for MDE 54. We're going to do a lot more just individual homework problems. I will do a lot of problems from the homework assignments. Your numbers will be different because that's the nature of MyMathLab. And the grade policy, which I don't know why it doesn't say in here officially, but there is no grade for this course. It's not like you're going to get an A or a B or a C. You're either going to pass it or you're going to fail it. You're going to get an S or an R/U. R and U is basically the same thing. So you might say, oh, okay, I don't have to do the homework. Yes, you do. If you don't do the homework, I'm going to withdraw you. Oh, okay, well, I can just get a 10. No, that's not doing the homework. You need to be getting at least C's on all the homework. So while it doesn't say in the syllabus officially, my policy is that you need to earn a C, which is a 70% or higher on each homework. So that's what I would call completing an assignment. Some of these homeworks are only like 4 or 5 questions. Some of them are just videos. Some of them have 30 or 40 or 50 questions, but they're very short questions quite often. The ones that have 50 or 60 problems, as long as you've got your C's on everything else, if you've got 1 or 2 that aren't a 70, I'm not going to say that's not a complete. So if you've got a couple 60s in there, I will let that slide. But if you've got all 20s and 30s and 40s and zeros, that's not completing things. If you've got 80s and 90s and 70s and maybe like 1 or 2 60s, that's fine. If every single one of your grade is a 60, that's not fine. wrong thing. Inclement weather, you'll get emails about this. If anything, it happens, snow this time of year maybe. So be on the look for emails for that. Sign up for TCC alerts if you haven't. I'll send emails to the students as well if anything happens. If I have to miss a class, if I know in advance, I'll send emails or make announcements in class. If it happens at the last second or my internet's down maybe, you might just notice, hey, why isn't Mr. Beckner on Zoom? That's probably because something went wrong all of a sudden. I got sick all of a sudden, which is not common with me. Usually it's, you wake up in the morning and you don't feel well. So you'd at least have a couple hours notice. And plus, since you're in my 154, you'd probably already know by then. Emergency shutdown, again, emails will be sent out with that. Your withdrawal dates are here. Your deadline for a tuition refund is January 25th. Your deadline for getting a W is March 21st. If you withdraw after that, it's going to be really, really hard to get a W. You'll have to file paperwork to, what's the word I'm looking for? To argue against getting a failing grade. And you'll need some kind of reason, like you're moving out of the country, you're pregnant and gave birth, you're going to jail, something like that. I don't know. Hopefully not the last one. Everything here is pretty normal stuff. Educational accessibility. If you have any forms, I should have access to those within the first or second week. That really won't have any effect on this course, just the Math 154 course. But as always, it has to be through TCC. Emergency procedures shouldn't really be an issue with us. Title IX is there as always. Please feel free to read all the political stuff in the syllabus on your own time. We do not have time to go over every little detail. The library is available on campus, assuming that the campus opens up after a week or two of this extra COVID nonsense the first week of January while we're trying to be safe with Omicron. The Learning Resource Center will be available in person eventually, hopefully, but also over Zoom. So again, just like with 154, I will email that link out eventually once I have it, once I have their hours. If in addition to the 154 course and 54 lectures, homeworks, problems, all the help me solve this and stuff, if you need more help, these two websites are very, very awesome, Khan Academy and Purple Math. I'm a big fan of Khan Academy. I haven't messed with Purple Math too much. I need to at some point. I just really don't have that much time. So those would be great resources for especially fractions, decimals, sign numbers, basic equation solving, things like that. I can't really say it's going to help you too much with Excel. You might want to just Google something else for that if the resources we provide in this course aren't enough. Other websites, all that good stuff. That's the syllabus in a nutshell. Hopefully nothing too crazy. All right, so let's show you how to sign up for MyMathLab. Go to MyMathLab.com. You will click register now as a student. It tells you the things you'll need, your email address, your instructor's course ID, and then your payment stuff, which the third one is actually optional temporarily because you get your 14-day trial. You click OK, register now. You will enter the course ID, which was, we said earlier, I'll actually do it for this one, Beckner 31530. And then you'll see MDE 54, Monday, Wednesday, 12:30, spring 2022. So that's us. If you already made your account for the 154 course, you can just sign in here and then boom, you're going to be linked. If this is the first one that you'll make, you'll have to hit the create button and then you'll enter. Now make sure you write down the information that you use for your email, username, and password. Email address, we prefer your TCC address. If you use your TCC address, make sure that you get it right. Make sure that you have it as something like JCWER at not exclamation mark, email.vccs.edu. And there's going to be some numbers in there, probably like a 00, not probably, most likely 0001 at email.vccs.edu. If you create your account with this incorrect in any way and then try and sign in with it correct, you're not going to be able to log in. And you're going to be in a cycle and trying to deal with their tech support and they might not figure it out. So please make sure that this is correct. You can use your Gmail account if you want. I don't care, as long as it's an email account you use. So password, make sure you got a good secure password, numbers, letters, capitals, symbols, all that good stuff. You don't want anybody stealing your MyMathLab work. You'd think it's not really a big security issue, but who knows? They might, if you have the same password here for your email address, you might get messed up that way. First name, last name, security question and answer. Click the buttons that apply to you, especially agreeing to the terms, and then you'll click create an account. It's a pretty easy process. After you hit create an account, you will be taken to a screen that looks like this. Oh, I must have forgotten to hit save. Hold on, I gotta draw this again. Let me get my pad out. So you'll be taken to a screen that'll look like this. In the top left code, you'll have a box that says, in the top left space, that says use your access code. So if you already purchased it, you can enter that little 25-letter code there. If you want to buy it, if you don't know how to get it through the bookstore, I know I've heard 1 or 2 people say there's some weirdness going on there, then you can buy it directly through MyMathLab if you have access to a credit card or debit card, or I think PayPal is as well. And I think it's also a little cheaper if you buy it this way. Someone said $75 in a previous class, but don't hold me to that. And then down below, this is where your free trial is. It's a blue hyperlink. In fact, let me do it so you can tell the difference. 14-day trial. And it doesn't explicitly say 14-day free trial. It's like a trial period. It's paraphrased, but you get the idea. So this is where most of you are probably going to be clicking for now. After those 14 days are up, you're going to be locked out of your work. And if you don't buy your access kit for a couple of weeks, you're going to get withdrawn because you can't do your homework. Please don't do that. Please don't waste your money on credits and then just to be withdrawn later. So please be ready to commit to this. If you cannot afford to buy the access code, I'm sorry that it's a paywall on top of having to pay for the class, but that's the way life is. That's the way TCC is. Many, many, many schools. It is what it is. All right, so that's how you gain access to MyMathLab. Before we talk about MyMathLab, let's just show you the very, very, very basics of what your Canvas course looks like. There's not going to be a lot of stuff in here. I have that document that I emailed you. If you signed up for this course between like 3 p.m. yesterday and now, or if you're watching this video later and you've signed up since then on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, and you didn't receive this email, well, it's right here. The exact same information is in this email. Okay, that's never happened before. The same information that was in the email is supposed to be there. And also the MyMathLab course ID in case you missed it. Then you'll also have the lectures section. The top link is always the live lectures. Correct to that question. This is always the live lectures link. I need to close that parentheses. Do that right now. Okay. And then as we finish lectures, I will upload them to YouTube, and then I will link them to Canvas. So after this lecture is finished in a couple of hours, you'll see a link here that'll say January 10th, 2022, course intro, and then January 12th, whatever, blah, 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 then January, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. As the semester goes, there'll be more and more and more of these links. So you can always find my YouTube links through Canvas. Once you've ever clicked a YouTube link once of mine, you can then see my YouTube name is like RCB TCC Math, something like that. And then I generate playlists on there, so you can just go to the MDE playlist. That'll be perfectly fine. But there's not going to be really too much stuff added to the MDE Canvas course. There's not going to be any quizzes. There's not going to be any Excel files due for MDE. That's all Math 154 stuff. The only things you have to do in MDE 54 are the homeworks in MyMathLab in addition to watching the lectures. Assignments. So like I said, there are 2 assignments for each week. Study skills, that's the be a good student. Getting used to Excel, that's the math. Number sense, that's math. Note-taking skills, that's be a good student. Reading to learn, good student. Formulas, fractions, math. Stress management, good student. Setting up proportions, math. Time management, good student. Arithmetic with units, math. Again, we will not necessarily be on this exact schedule. You'll always know which week we're on because I'm always going to pull problems from these each week. Study skills. Holy moly, 56 questions. Let's just go to question 5 and see what this looks like. How can an engineering major motivate himself to learn the material in what he considers a boring health course? Accept that the course is necessary, change his major to nutrition science, use it as an opportunity to learn patience, apply nutrition habits to his own life. So maybe you think he should change his major. Or he or she, I guess it didn't say he. No, that's wrong. All right, let's try it again. Use it as an opportunity to learn patience. And this is the type of thing I'll be doing in class, and I like to play silly. I'm not going to say the other S word, and I'll get things wrong intentionally. Every now and then I'll get something wrong on the these kind of be a good student side of things unintentionally, but I keep that in there for good measure, just to prove that we're all not perfect. Oh, I got it wrong, and it tells me what the answer was. So let me try again. Well, it just changed the order, but it's the same question. So I should be able to get it. Apply to his own life. Was it that one? Correct. We got it right. Now it's right permanently, and we can move on. So these be a good student ones tend to be just multiple choice questions. Not too bad. So no reason to miss these, and you never get anything wrong permanently. You can always do it again. So, I mean, you could just blindly try this. Oh, no, maybe it's B. Oh, nope, it was C. Let's see, C was the it's possible, blah, blah, blahs. Okay, well, now that's B, so I know I got it right. So I would love it if you actually do these, but you can certainly cheat the system if you have to. And I'm not telling you to do that. Again, I am not telling you to do that. I am not telling you to do that. Don't ever do that. But one certainly could. All right, so try and get a 70 on these. Let's go back to assignments. Let's look at what some math stuff looks like. Let's go to number sense. Question 14. All right, find the sum of the pair of numbers. Use the number line as a visual check. 7 plus -1. Oh boy, I don't remember how to do sign numbers at all. I see a 7 and a 1, so that's probably 8. Ah, dang, that's not right. Well, there's a negative, so maybe it's -8. And you get 3 tries when it's fill in the blank type. Maybe it's just -18. I don't know. Final check. I got it wrong. It tells me the right answer. Similar question, just changes the math. 8 plus -1. All right, well, I can't remember what Mr. Beckner said. I can't remember how to do this. So let's do this, view an example. The first step in graphing 10 plus -8 is to graph the point 10 on the number line. So here's the 10. So do that as a point. Continue. Plot the point at the sum of 10 and -8 by moving 8 units to the left. So because it's a negative, you move left. If it was a positive, you'd move right. That's how adding works. So you go 8 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there it is, +2. So 2 would be the answer. Notice I'm not even talking about the way with different signs and the same signs because it mentioned like graphing. If you knew that method, you certainly could. It didn't ask you to show your work. So if you knew the rules, all different signs, subtract the numbers, keep the sign at positive. Talk about that later. You'd say, oh, no, it's 7. Okay, cool. You don't have to write +7, just 7. And we got it right. There we go. Now let's go back. Let me hit similar question. So, oh, I don't think I had enough practice. I want to do it again. There we go. I still have credit for it, but I can do another one, 4 plus -2. All right, view an example just kind of drags you by the nose. Help me solve this. We'll take the same example and ask for your input. First step is to graph the 4 on the point. So this little dot, I can drag it over to the check. I got it right. Then start at 4 on the number line and move -2 units horizontally, which means 2 to the left. All right, so let's drag this 2 to the left. 1, 2. And there we go. We got it. That's +2, which means 4 plus -2 is +2. And we got it right. But check this out. The 4 plus -2, when I hit close, going to change because it wants you to try another one on your own without the guiding. So 5 plus -1. All right, so we start at 5. -1 means move 1 to the left. So that should be a +4. And we got it right. So now I know I've mastered it. This one doesn't have all that number line stuff, so we'd have to use the regular rules of same sign, add the number, keep the sign, but we'll get into that another day. I don't have to hit save. I can just close it, and I still keep my correct answer for that one. All right. If you want to move ahead, if you want to work faster than we're going through the course, that's certainly fine. I don't mind you. We're starting stuff on week 6 and week 7 and week 8 if you've already done the previous stuff. Feel free to move ahead. I do not have a problem with that. I don't really like students doing that in 154 because you're probably going to have a harder time in that course because the topics are a little more off kilter from normal math. Might be stuff you haven't seen before. And you can keep track of your grades in the student grade book. All right, so I got a 3 and a 2 on those. It shows how much time I've spent individually on those, so I know I need to keep working. All right, how about that textbook, e-text? Same as with Math 154. All right, well, let's see what chapter 1 looks like. Now, this is very important for us. And I didn't really mention it too much in 154. Chapters 1 through 4, but not 5 or past that. Chapters 1 through 4 have this PKA section, prior knowledge activation. I might have said assessment before, but activation. This is the MDE material. So when you hit the explore button, these are the sections that would be a little more related to what we would be doing at the time for that chapter's worth of material. You can go between the pages using these arrows. You can also use the left and right on your keyboard. And they talk about place values, sign numbers, adding, exponents, etc., 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 etc. And then eventually you'll get into the actual 154 material. So when it stops saying PKA at the top right here, so PKA, and then when I go one more, now it doesn't say PKA anymore. So I'm in the actual Math 154 section now. Oh, I don't know why I just did that. So you can access the 154 material here as well as the MDE 54 material. And the same is true from the 154 shell. Now, here's the guided activities from 154. Here's some extra worksheets for the MDE 54. I don't reference these too much, but they might be helpful to you. So please feel free to use them at your own pace. And you'll see a lot of similar stuff from the textbook that you saw on the screen. You should recognize this page and this page that we scrolled through really quickly. So again, I really won't use this too much in class, but you might find it helpful. So that's it. That's the only 2 sections we really need to worry about for MDE 54. Again, what happens if you don't do your assignments? You're gonna be withdrawn from the course after a certain amount of time. If you go 3-4 weeks without doing anything, you're gonna get withdrawn, not just from the MDE 54, but from both courses. You might have a C in Math 154, but if you're not doing anything in MDE 54, you're gone from both. So please make sure you're completing assignments from both courses. Please understand that you're responsible for completing material in both courses up until the end. And again, the last couple weeks, I'm a little more lenient if I find that students making an A in 154, but they stop doing the last couple of things from 54. That's not a big deal, but that's only true the last couple weeks of class. Again, that's not going to be true the first, second, third month of class. What else did I want to say about this? Video and resource library, let's show that. So video and resource library, if you ever want to see some short videos from the author chapter. So we have our basic chapters from the regular course, chapters 0 through 9, although we don't do chapter 7. And like earlier I mentioned with the textbook, chapters 1 through 4 have PKA stuff. So there are PKA videos, in other words, videos for us in chapter 1 with video, find now. And everything that says PKA is stuff that would help us for the MDE 54 course, intro math, order of operations. And I'm going to keep this on mute because otherwise YouTube flags my videos for copyright stuff. And then you can see the author talking about something having to do with order of operations. So 2 plus 3 times 5. What do we do first? A lot of people say 2 plus 3 is 5, and then 5 times 5 is 25, and that's wrong. People get into wars on Facebook and Instagram and probably other social media over this stuff. No, that's not how it works. They might say, well, it just depends on what you're using. No, it's not how it works. multiplication comes before addition. So you'd have to do the 3 times 5 first, which would be 15. And then you add the 2 after that, which would be 17. See, this one right here has a parentheses, which would give priority to adding the 2 and the 3 first, which would be the 5, and then 5 times 5 is 25. And this is math we will talk about. But every now and then you might not want to comb through an hour and 15-minute video of mine on YouTube. You might just want to say, I bet I can find something that's only 3 or 4 minutes. Let me go to the video resource library, chapter 1, find some pKa stuff. Oh, yep, there's the order of operations. Oh, number line. Or I think it was chapter 2 I might want to go with. All right, there's not too much pKa stuff here. Classy fractions, proportions. Proportions we talk about a lot in this course. Ooh, that looks like cross multiplying. So sometimes these are helpful because, again, they're shorter videos. You're not going to have as much material to comb through on a YouTube video of mine. And maybe you like the author more than me and find the way he teaches better than me. Anything's possible. So is it mandatory to use the video and resource library for MDE 54? No. Will it be mandatory for Math 154 for a couple of quizzes? Yes. So don't forget where that is. Let's talk about a couple of things from the helpful tips to start file we used before. We talked about enrolling in math in the in MML shell. We talked about how to create a MyMathLab account. I'm not going to worry about showing you the Excel stuff since it's not relevant here. How to find the course videos, we literally just did that. Submitting MyMathLab homework, we've already shown that. The worksheets, we just showed that maybe like 5-10 minutes ago. In case you missed it previously, you do get Microsoft Office for free as a TCC student. You just have to go to office.vccs.edu. You would then type in your TCC credentials. Let's see if mine will work this way. And then if you're not on a Chromebook, then up here, I'm sorry, right here, you should have this Install Office button. And you can go to Office 365 apps. I don't want to do that. Oh well. Other install options. And then you can install Office from here. So I don't want to take that too far and overload my computer. But if you are on a Chromebook or if you are on an old Apple, that's going to be a problem because they can't use Excel and you cannot use the online version of Excel. So if you only have access to a Chromebook, if you only have access to a super old Apple that's not letting you download Excel, that's going to be a problem. You're going to need to borrow a computer, hit up the library, anything like that, or you need to enroll in this course later. I do recommend that you purchase or own a scientific calculator. Your cell phone's fine except for tests. And again, there's only tests for Math 154. There is no test for MDE 54. It's only homework. So this is a really easy class to get a passing grade. All you do is complete the homework. And I've already shown you that for half of the assignments, you can kind of cheese it if you absolutely necessarily have to. I don't want you to cheese it, but you could. What else do I need to talk about? I feel like I'm missing something. Just reminding here, this is not a high school class. You're not going to get a passing grade for nothing. I always have some students that want to just do the work in 154 and not the MDE 54. And I've already talked about multiple times how that's not going to fly with me. You have to do the work, at least up to the very end. You register for MyMathLab for the MDE 54 course using the ID I provided earlier, and then you'll register for the 154 course with the code I provided in your 154 section. And I can't put that on the screen because y'all are coming from 2 different classes. So again, this was the 54 code right here. The one for your 154 is Beckner and then 5 different numbers. So you have to enroll in both. Have to enroll in both. You have to enroll in both. And again, the access kit you only have to purchase once. So don't go and spend $200 or $300 on this course. You shouldn't be spending any more than like 120 or whatever that maximum is. So let's go back and look at the assignments. I know you might have gotten freaked out because the first two I pulled up here both had 56 and 60 problems. Let's look at this one. Getting used to Excel. It's just one question. And it's not even really a question. Well, yes, it is. I thought it was a video, but it's just a question. And boom, there you go. Now you got 100 on that assignment if you answer that question perfectly. This one, 50 questions, but not the end of the world. Note taking, about 50 questions. 50 is really not that bad in here considering it's the only type of homework we have. Reading to learn, 35 questions. More on formulas, 31. So they're getting fewer as we go. Stress management back up to 50. Don't get stressed over that. Time management, 43. Growth mindset, 3 videos. And that's it. And then you have to type like a sentence answer that's automatically graded. How are making mistakes? 3 videos. So see, some of these assignments are pretty short. It's going to be ridiculously easy to get that good grade on those. Basics of graphing slope, week 9, only 18 questions. Once the problems get longer in length, we give you less questions. Financial topics, only 13 questions. So again, the further in we get, the less questions there tend to be in the assignments. 18 questions here. So when we're working on the more basic math, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, fractions, sign numbers, decimals, that's when we have the 50 question averages. When we actually get into the more advanced math, percent proportion, 17 questions, there's less questions. So don't freak out when the first couple of weeks you just keep seeing 50 questions, 40 questions over and over and over. Those questions should take less time, and eventually there will be less questions because those take more time. All right. I don't really have anything else to add since, like I said, most of you should have been coming from the 154 course and seen all this stuff, which is why I went through it quickly. So if you have any questions, you can post up in the chat and I'll hang out for a minute or two, but we'll get to end early. Someone asked, once you submit homework, can you still go back and practice them? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I showed that earlier, I believe, was it order of operations? Number sense, yes. So we did question 14. So I've already got my check mark for this one. And I've got that this answer was 4, but I can hit similar question and I can do it again. 3 plus -4. That's going to end up being a -1. I'm not going to explain why, but it will be a -1. Check answer. All right. Instead of hitting next question, I want to do it again. Let me hit similar question again. You can do these over and over and over. 6 plus -4 is going to be +2. Next question. Nah, I still want more practice. Similar question. 7 plus -1, 6. So you can definitely master these by doing the same question over and over and over. That's a great question. Any other questions from anybody? I'm still here. I'm just going to wait like 60 seconds. And I know some people don't really like my practice of only using a text chat. And I'm sorry that that's the way I am. I tried one semester and it worked miserably. I was getting interrupted all the time. I could hardly understand half my students' microphones. And I'm a little, I'm not going to say the term, but my attention span is not perfect if you can kind of get where I'm going there. So I'm very, very easy to distract. So if you don't like the fact that I only use the text chat for questions, there are other teachers that teach both of these classes paired together. So you have options. That's the good thing. And you can still enroll in other classes up until about, what, a week and a half in the semester. All right. So I'm not seeing any other questions. So what's our assignment for today? What homework do you have to do? Well, none, Mr. Beckner, you didn't assign anything. Not entirely true. Go enroll in MyMathLab. And I know more than half of you already had. When I started this class, I already saw 8 students enrolled. That's awesome. I love y'all for that. I want the other half of my students to please get that done today if possible, if not by 5 p.m. tomorrow. Please and thank you. Let's stay in this course. Let's stick together. Let's complete the homework. Let's get passing grades. Let's move on with our lives. Let's tread into the future. Let's get real jobs. Let's start making real money if we're not already doing those last 2 things already. And if you are, let's find a way to make more money. All right, so have a good one. Like I said, this video should be up on YouTube in case you need to hear anything additionally. Usually takes a couple of hours to upload and convert and post and everything, but it's always up by the next day at a minimum. All right, so it's good to talk to y'all. We'll see you on Wednesday. Take care, everybody.